Have you ever needed to make a decision but just couldn't do it? You do the thinking, you run all the scenarios, consider the options, so you actually know what it looks like to move forward, but you don't. That's not leading boldly. A bold move is a decision to do what's necessary, even when it's uncomfortable, unfamiliar, or unpopular. It's doing what's aligned with your values, your visions, and where you're headed next. And if you've been sitting on a decision like that for a while, there's usually a reason. When you think more, gather more information, revisit the options, it's usually because the decision comes with trade-offs. There's reputation risk, financial implications, life changes, people who won't agree with it. And sometimes the decision becomes a part of how you see yourself. Decisions that affect identity take time. If something has been on your mind for a while, it's worth taking the time to get clear on what's actually keeping it in place, keeping it swirling around in your thoughts. I have a few ideas about why that may be happening. If you've been hesitating to make a decision, there's usually a reason for that. In my last video, I asked, why haven't you taken action yet? It's rarely one thing, but some of the reasons are obvious. What it will cost you, who won't agree with the decision, the upheaval or change that will come as a result of making a particular decision. But that's not the full picture because there's usually something more significant behind hesitating. For example, imagine for a moment that you know you have gone as far as you can go in your career where you are. Sure, there are other roles, but you're not interested in them. You don't want your boss's role. You don't want another lateral move. So in that scenario, the decision seems clear. Your next opportunity is somewhere else. Or maybe it's finally building that thing you've been dreaming about for years. But either way, you don't make the decision because the decision isn't just about what's next. It's also about everything that's connected to the decision. The reputation you've built, the way people see you, the structure your life has taken around the role and what it affords you. Let's imagine something else happens. You're offered a promotion, more money, more responsibility. Now, you know you don't want that role, but then someone you trust says, I think you should take it. This would be a good opportunity for you. And so you do, because it's easier and it just makes sense, right? This doesn't just show up in career scenarios. Some people stay in relationships they've outgrown, in homes that no longer fit the way they want to live, in places they've already moved on from in their mind. It's the same pattern. You can see the next move. You know the action you want to take, but you don't because it keeps the status quo. Because it's not just about the decision, it's about everything connected to it. And when you can see that clearly, you'll understand why you haven't taken action yet. We've been discussing the decision that you're hesitating to make and why. Now, let's discuss what that hesitation is costing you. Let's continue using the example where you know it's time for a career move, but you don't want your boss's job. You don't want another lateral move, and yet you stay in your position. You tell yourself you'll figure it out later. You don't notice it right away, but the cost shows up in what indecision takes from you. When you hesitate to make a bold move, it costs your excitement. Work that used to challenge you doesn't anymore. So you just go through the motions. It costs your time. You rarely take time off. And when you're not at work, you're still thinking about the work that needs to get done. It costs your presence. When you get home from work, you're not fully there because you're distracted, you're tired, and even short-tempered. And eventually it costs your relationships because the way you show up with your friends, your partner, your family begins to shift. And over time, the stress and the pace of work will cost you your health. Your life starts to feel like something that you settled for. And the longer you stay in that mode, the more normal it starts to feel. But there's another side to this. What happens when you make the decision and act on it? Here's the truth. Until the cost of inaction outweighs the possible risk of taking action, you won't move. But here's what happens if you do. One of the first things you'll notice is a shift in energy. Going back and forth can be draining. Making a decision boosts your energy. Taking actions that align with the decision builds on it. And with consistency over time, you build momentum. A bold decision doesn't just change your situation, it changes you. It changes what you think, how you show up, and what you're willing to do next. Once you change, everything else follows. Think about how much more becomes possible once you make a bold move toward what you truly want. Is it worth the risk? You already know the action you want to take. You know why you're hesitating, what that hesitation is costing you, and what becomes possible when you make a move. So it really comes down to one question. Is it worth the risk? Is doing the uncomfortable, unfamiliar, unpopular, but necessary thing worth achieving what you truly want? Is it worth the risk if it strengthens your team, grows your business, and moves you towards something greater? You can stay where you are, keep things as they are, or you can make a bold move. I work with leaders who refuse to play small. They know they're meant for more and they are done waiting. I help them reconnect to their strengths, passions, and purpose so they can lead boldly and live fully on their terms, because that's what happens the moment you decide to make a bold move. Click the QR code on your screen, book a complimentary strategy session, and let's work together to get you more clarity, more impact, and make the bold move toward what you truly want.